Tonight we are in Scranton, Pennsylvania, and I am joined by Jakob Lonergen. Mr. Lonergen serves as Chief Executive Officer of Panoptica LLC, the largest manufacturer of mechanical ball bearings in the world. His company sells ball bearings to automotive manufacturers, yo-yo designers, and the United States Department of Defense. Jakob Lonergen has appeared on the cover of Forbes, The Wall Street Journal, and In Touch Weekly. He has also served as a guest commentator on the smashed television show Money Talks with David Nimrod. Mr. Lonergen's cumulative net worth exceeds $50 billion. Jakob Lonergen has also written a brand new book on the art of employee management, which he calls his magnum opus. Hi, my name is James Miller, and this is The James Miller Show.
Thank you for having me, James.
Jakob, in your new book, The Panopticon Within Us, Superior Management in the Digital Age, you state on page 275 that all structures and systems, regardless of prescriptive norms, must rely on new modalities of collective reprogramming in order to foster a paradigm shift that eclipses past transactional models of business development, thus eliminating laissez-faire tendencies, low morale, and substandard associate productivity. I find it fantastic. You refer to your employees as associates.
Well, James, at my company, both managers as well as associates are the means to a common end, which is the maximization and quality of the greatest ball bearings ever made.
Ball bearings seem to be everywhere nowadays.
Our company utilizes zirconium dioxide bearing balls, which means they're basically indestructible, and a facilitation of motion is simply immaculate.
But there was a period of struggle. A major collapse, correct?
7 years ago, I took over Panoptica LLC from my dad. At the time, everything was in shambles. We were ranked number 9 worldwide in ball bearing production. Not to mention, my dad developed a rotten case of dementia. He was forgetting people's names, or how to go to the bathroom, or even that he owned a ball bearing company. Other ball bearing manufacturers were laughing at us. Morale was low, turnover was high, and the ball bearings were pieces of garbage.
How did you turn things around?
Simple, really. I transformed radically all structures and systems. I want you to pay attention to those two words for me, okay, James? Structures, systems.
Tell me about that.
Well, instead of thinking of my corporation as a series of independent departments, I began thinking of the whole thing as a singular machine, a panopticon.
Sounds like the Soviet Union circa 1981. I'm glad you enjoyed my gag.
Look, the Panopticon is nothing more than a hypothetical building with a circular shape and a central observation tower. It's a metaphor.
And so that's how you began to see your ball bearing company? As a panopticon?
Here's the thing. Most human persons don't actually desire freedom. They're not going to admit that to you, James. To your face, they're going to say, rah, rah, yeah. Freedom is the gold standard. But in their face, they're fucking lying to you, man. And their souls, they're lying to you, James.
I think you might be generalizing.
90% of workers actually desire limited freedom. That's the real thesis of my book. And my response is, okay, so what do we do? How do we utilize this information?
You mean utilize the employee's desire for what you refer to as limited freedom?
That's correct, James.
Okay, I must ask, where are you getting your data?
From my own research. I've been researching this shit for 17 years, ever since I went to Cornell.
Come on, Jacob. That's skewed data. There's internal bias everywhere.
You're assuming that my data is only valid if it's metadata, or if it's conducted by the Brookings Institute.
As a matter of fact, yes. That would be more reliable data.
All right, let me ask you a question. Amid all our structures and systems, what do you see?
That's a great question, Jacob. What do I see? I see people wanting freedom, people wanting change. Change for the environment, change to the status quo, change to the way their government handles foreign or domestic policy. I see it everywhere. But people have to choose that change.
This is not about free will. It's never about that.
Of course it is.
That's childish.
You call it childish? I call it choice.
Okay, you're telling me you believe human beings have the freedom to make choices?
That's absolutely what I'm saying. Yes.
These workers are merely automatons moving through structures of inherited values and restrictive norms. Why? Because without such structures, their lives would involve risk.
I feel like you're limiting the capacity for human potential. Human potential is limitless and far-reaching, Jacob. And risk, for instance, can be a wonderful opportunity for change.
Risk takes a system and shatters it. Don't you understand? Risk destroys institutions. It destroys governments. It destroys collectives. It destroys the status quo.
So your goal then is to take advantage of a man's desire for safety.
Precisely.
But isn't it primal to avoid certain dangers, to protect ourselves, to protect our loved ones, to earn a decent wage?
To a degree, I give you that. Otherwise, it's cowardly and mutton-headed. Can't you see the working class craves order, and behind the veil of loving freedom, they secretly like being told what to do?
I disagree.
Are you kidding me? Are you joking? People love being told what to do, and then after being told what to do, they convince themselves they perform their actions for a purpose, and this purpose gives them a feeling of agency and the motivation to succeed, to have a house and a small plot and a community garden, to enjoy a microbrew with your buddies on a Friday night, to take the dog-on-o-damn walk. It's the perfect formula for quote-unquote respect among the proletariat. Please don't include proletariat in the edited version. Anyhow, only a designated few of us can manage these associates into complete submission, and that's the key. That's what I wrote about in my book, okay? It's management. Management of human persons.
Are you comfortable talking about this out loud? I mean, you realize this show is going to be broadcast all over the world.
Yes, and you will edit this within reason, within my reasoning, of course.
Jacob, this is live. You're live right now.
James, it doesn't matter anymore, okay? You listen to me now. I wrote an entire book about this just now. It was 879 pages. Hear me when I say this. The working class is going to condemn everything that I'm saying to you right now, okay? They're going to slander me over the airwaves, and they're going to cancel my ass, and at the same time, they're going to continue living denial of their own predeterminism and lack of risk.
In other words, you hope to take advantage of them, correct? As a means to your own end?
God damn it, I didn't say that. You cut that out. And I don't subscribe to your belief system either. I think it's bogus as balls.
I wasn't talking about my belief system. This is all about you, Jakob Lonergen.
Open your eyes, James. If you want to manage your associates, you have to see them first. You must work diligently to focus your lens upon their movements, and at the same time, they must know that you are watching them. They must be aware that this operation is occurring in real time.
My counterargument would say that your system is highly oppressive.
Why did you just turn that into a euphemism? Why didn't you just say, I disagree?
Jacob, I did say I disagreed. I just used the language that I preferred.
The language that you preferred?
Your system oppresses human beings, Jacob.
It isn't oppression. It's the apex of capitalism.
Are you okay with this so-called apex of capitalism?
Well, of course I'm okay with it, James. God damn it. I'm worth $57 billion.
That's true, Mr. Lonergen, but isn't it also true that you inherited vast sums of wealth from your father, and that your father inherited that money from his own father?
Why are you doing this to me right now? I don't appreciate what you're doing. It's petty and it's not advancing the narrative. Listen, I went to Cornell, okay, and then I went to Wharton School of Business in Pennsylvania.
It's not petty, Jakob Lonergen. Your system advocates fascism.
Did you just say what I think you said?
Yes, I did actually. I said fascism.
That's actually highly offensive to me. You don't even know what fascism does or is.
If the worker loses her rights to a single ruler or system,
it's a structural system that they choose to participate in, James. Hence the necessity of the panopticon.
Yeah, Jacob, I understand the panopticon, but the worker, don't you agree, deserves a right to her privacy?
I find it so interesting that you just used the pronoun her.
We must strive to say and do the right thing.
See, this is exactly what I'm talking about.
What?
What you just did. That's bad.
What?
What you just said. That's a prescriptive norm, and also the worker gives up a slew of rights when he is collecting rubles or government benefits from any cooperative, especially my corporation.
I have to challenge your failure to address basic human rights. Your philosophy of management is no different than a prison disguised as a company that sells widgets.
You know, I'm so glad you mentioned that, James, because our widgets just so happen to be the most incredible ball bearings ever fucking made.
Nobody is challenging the quality of your ball bearings. In your book, The Panopticon Within Us, Superior Management in the Digital Age, you claim on page 790 that there is only one modality for increasing employee productivity, and that modality presumes that technological capital is abundant. Well, What if a company doesn't have that kind of capital? What if they can't invest in these resources?
Well, that sucks for them, doesn't it? That's unfortunate as fuck. That's just too bad, okay? But we at our company are fortunate enough, James, to have at our disposal the ripest fruits of the modern age. We have fingerprint tech, voice recognition, deepfake capability, retina scans, 6K cameras, which are all ubiquitously capturing and recording raw uncensored data. And if you don't what? The Bolshevik Revolution.
This is the United States of America. Come on.
This is the United States of America. That is correct. But look around you. It's going to happen again and again and again and again and again and again and again if we don't minimize them into a belief system that prioritizes the necessity of safety and the elimination of risk.
I'm having a very difficult time understanding how you're talking about all this out loud and expecting your employees to remain loyal.
What in the name of Sam Hill are you talking about? My company is ranked number 7 in the International Job Satisfaction Poll among large multinational organizations. We've been ranked number 7 in the top 10 twice in the past 6 years, and that's according to the Brookings Institute.
I thought you hated the Brookings Institute.
I do. They're terrible.
Okay, I have 3 writers who work for me at the James Miller Show. These writers come and go at their leisure. They get the job done. I trust them. I don't have to coerce them or make them submit to my fancies just because I'm afraid they won't produce.
That's what you believe now. Give it time. They're gonna turn on you, James, and they're gonna revolt on you in the most subversive way.
Meaning?
It's what they did to my dad. Look. They're gonna concoct scenarios and create circumstances for you to fail, be it by tattling on you to the papes about a sin from your past, or be it through bribery and manipulation tactics for them to retain their position at the studio, all the while completing a diminishing return of work.
That would never happen here. That's anarchy.
Anarchy? He just said anarchy. What the fuck is this guy? Call me in a year when your fucking line producer has emailed an expose to the LA Times claiming you said bad things about women.
I would never say anything that degraded women.
This has nothing to do with the truth anymore, James. The truth is dead. It has to do with the lengths that others will go to in order to strip you of your power and gain some power of their own. Think about something for me for a moment, will you? I want you to close your eyes, okay? Good. I want you to think about something for a minute, James. I want you to think about all the movements that are happening. They're everywhere. Movements all over the streets. Cars burning. Buildings being smashed. People dying for their rights and shit.
I'm not worth $1 billion, though. I'm merely the host of my own television show.
Listen to me, James Miller. I'm not kidding. I have heard stories of small children who have learned via the internet how to poison their teacher with a 1-2 punch of antifreeze and arsenic. I'm talking 8-year-old girls watching and snickering on FaceTime Lives as their teacher choked on her own puke and writhed in agony until her fucking liver exploded into her ass. This is the consequence of empowering those who are beneath you, smaller than you. So you must subdue them. Now or nevers.
But these aren't children we are talking about. These are adults.
Adults are children, giant children.
But that means you're saying that you're a child.
That's actually a fair argument. I buy that. Okay, can you edit that?
Jacob, we're live.
It doesn't matter anymore, James. What matters is human management. I want you to soak this in, okay? In my experience, employees hit milestones at a far greater pace when they know that every second and every minute and every hour of the day that someone is watching or hearing and always recording from a far-off substation.
Okay, when you say watching from a substation or hearing, do you literally mean watching? Do you literally mean hearing?
Allow me to give you another example. I follow current events, okay? I read books.
As do I, that's normal.
There is a school in Brighthurst, New Jersey. It's one of the most poverty-stricken communities on the eastern seaboard. Now, students at public school number 11 had behaved like hyenas and cockatoos for years. I'm talking hooing and hollering that shit they do in the halls, beep-bopping up and down to the beats of their insidious cell devices, writing graffiti on the bathroom stalls and calling it art, throwing refuse at the sanitation crew, cursing the guards, stashing drugs in the backpacks of the freaks and the geeks. They ruled that place, treated their headmasters like toads with total disregard for the rule of law and order. And then, do you want to know what happened? Do you want me to tell you a little secret? Just get it out of our systems? After reading my book, The Panopticon Within Us, Superior Management in the Digital Age, the headmaster of public school number 11, whose name was Theodore Washington, called my agent, begging for me to meet with him and discuss how to turn their school into a system that mimics the Panopticon, just like we did at my ball bearing company.
I'm a little concerned about your ideas, honestly, regarding the Panopticon.
But you shouldn't be. According to Michael Foucault, a philosopher well versed in the power structures inherent within all cultures and communities, the Panopticon serves as a metaphor for the all-seeing eye. In certain high-security prisons, for instance, the cells are laid out in the shape of an oval, with a guard tower in the center, which means that only a single guard is necessary to survey, monitor, and discipline all inmates.
But students aren't inmates. They're not.
It's a metaphor. In order to have them submit to your whimsies as a ruler or manager or president or boss, we have to see our struggle like the prison guard inside of the Panopticon.
So what happened at public school number 11?
At public school number 11, we turned that ramshackle mess into a thriving business center. We installed 595 cameras and audio recorders in every nick and cranny. I'm talking every hallway, every 8 feet, every classroom, every stairwell, where installed an army of robotically controlled cameras so that every who in Whoville was being watched by a brilliant security agent named Stephen A. Walsh, who sat with his assault rifle in an 8 by 10 foot glass partition substation in the center of the school. And before his eyes were gorgeous triplicates and quadruplicates of video data being live streamed on 17 computer monitors, displaying every footstep, handshake, word, and whisper.
Wait, that's impossible.
Oh, but you're wrong, James Miller. You are so wrong. Students grew much, much quieter. They were very quiet now. They followed directives now. They stopped fighting in the hallways, stopped making that weird graffiti art of theirs, stopped making that silly music of theirs. They stopped cursing at their teachers and calling them sluts and whores. Why?
Yes, why?
Because, James, when people know they're being watched and listened to, they stop acting like howler monkeys and start acting like good human persons.
You do understand that your ideas aren't necessarily your own, correct?
Not my own. Look, Michael Foucault was ahead of his time. I give him that. Sadly, he died of AIDS-related sepsis in 1984, but that's beside the point. Look, it's a strategy that's been documented and proven. I elaborated on his idea, so it's my idea now.
And at your company?
Yeah. And my company is right. Total and complete surveillance. That's what I'm talking about. I'm talking about retina scans of the entrances that unlock the doors and display clock hours, computer applications collecting data on every mouse click, every letter typed, morning and midday surveys asking employees to communicate their frustrations regarding the misdeeds among other employees. It's phenomenal.
You make them take surveys documenting the behavior of other employees?
Oh, James, they love it.
Okay, provide me with an example. I need to hear this.
Gee, let me think. Okay, how's this? Oh yeah, I remember. Okay, here goes. Which statement do you agree with more? A, I can become really angry when things do not go my way. Or B, if I want something from my coworker, I will laugh at her worst jokes just to get what I want.
They're both terrible propositions.
Yeah, but each proposition gives us so much data. And by the way, choice B is actually the better choice.
Choice B is morally wrong. It's advocating manipulation.
It's better than becoming mad. That's a terrible risk.
What?
Anger is bad. Okay, let's try another one. This one's actually my personal favorite. Which statement do you disagree with more? A, I do not care about events in other parts of the world. Or B, my coworker Antoinette has been gossiping to her team too much about her direct supervisor, Bridget.
I'd select choice B, easy, because choice B is ratting out Antoinette, who in turn is slinging mud at Bridget. Choice B is the worst of the two choices by a vast margin.
I happen to agree with you here, but do you want to know what most people select?
What?
Answer A.
Jesus Christ.
Either way, it's a pickle.
Look,
these surveys, they go to a supervisor, who then sends his analysis to an operations officer, who sends his metadata to a human resources director, who then promotes or fires based off of the algorithm present in the supercomputer that's collecting mass quantities of data and monitoring the activities and thoughts of the workers. See, we convince our associates that it's up or it's out. That's it. This way, they're constantly on the move, push one another off of the ladder, and boost themselves up. But nobody's really going anywhere. It's a perfect circle. What a pickle. Talk about luck. Are employees being ratted out by other employees? Of course they are, damn it. Are they using their eyeballs to clock in on time? You betcha. Are they meeting their marks? Perhaps. Do we really give a damn? Hells no. Are they answering the surveys honestly and using their eyeballs? Yes. Are they obedient? Do they question too much? Do they take too many risks? If they do, that's called bye-bye, fare thee well, exit the building. Oh wait, there is no exit here. All this is recorded by hundreds of thousands of cameras in plain sight that are continuously watching and swiveling from up above and around and in between their fat asses and their cubicles or manufacturing stations. Cameras are everywhere. They're ubiquitous as fuck. That along with the state-of-the-art audio recording software applications that are embedded in discreetly clandestine locations, including but not limited to the employee's very own company-issued cell phone, which, by the way, they're obligated to utilize all day long. And you're probably wondering, do we as managers have the right to switch on the cameras from their phones and or smart tablets in order to document the associate's productivity or what email they're reading or drinking a Starbucks latte and texting their bitch-ass boyfriend Tom or Flynn or Methuselah or whatever the fuck they're called and sitting with their eyes laser focused on the prize, which is just making shit happen for my ball bearing company?
After the recording of our program, Jakob Lonergen hopped on his private jet and flew to Bridehurst School Number 11, where he gave a speech to all 2000's high school students on the value of listening to others, especially those in charge. In the coming year, Jakob will be presenting his ideas to thousands of company managers at the upcoming computer trade show Startup Kids, which will take place in Philadelphia on October 13th. If you or anyone you know is interested in purchasing tickets, please go to Jakob's own personal website, subdueandconquer.com. Thank you all for watching. My name is James Miller, and this is The James Miller Show.